Good morning, everybody. This is Architecture 261, and I'm super excited. We have a fabulous group of guest speakers with new possibilities for workforce and very important strategies for a green economy. I'm Professor Marcela Oliva, architecture professor for LA Trade Tech, architecture environmental design, and this is a partnership with USGBC LA for new careers in the green economy, and also with Mayor's Karen Bass with the project of generating the new workforce for the Green New Deal. And it's called Careers by Design LA. I have a group of students, I have our guest speakers. We will be publishing these on our YouTube channel. And we welcome the opportunity of bringing industry into the classroom and the classroom work out into the community. And I have amazing students here. I have people that were already inspectors in their lifetime. I have architects, I have contractors. I have students that are coming out of high school. It's a very diverse group. That's the challenge in the community colleges, the diversity of education, ethnicity, culture. I also have students that study engineering in other parts of the world. And they're here with us. And if they're not here with us today, they definitely will be listening to this presentation. So I deeply thank all the effort that these guest speakers have put into our first series. And with that, thank you, Holly.
Thank you so much. I will share my screen right now. Thank you, Professor Oliva. We are really delighted to speak with you and the class and for the series. We're going to be talking about the lighting pipeline, how it fits into architecture, and we'll also give you a little taste of the lighting field and its profession. Before we start, though, we just wanted to, this is an icebreaker for the students. Are you up for it? If you want to, we have the chat live, and you can either call out, you can use the chat, or you can raise your hand with the icon. But these are the questions. What's your favorite color? What excites you most about the AEC industry? What do you want to learn? What is your ideal work environment? And what do you want to know about lighting? So just you can, if you type it into the chat, I can read it out. And also, I did say at the beginning, what's your favorite color? So if you don't want to say, if you don't want to ask anything right now, let's all just call out our favorite color.
Yellow.
Aha, purple. Okay, I see blue. Another blue. Ah. Are people thinking? So let me just ask you, yellow, okay, and blue, orange. Red, pink. So what excites you most about the AEC industry as you see it now?
Jack.
Okay, so
Jack,
yes.
come, tell us, Jack.
Sorry, I was having some issues on my end. As far as excites me about the AEC industry, probably just like collaboration with clients, and just idea to reality, just like making something tangible.
Beautiful. Juliana?
What kind of architecture do you like?
Personally,
what kind of
early
buildings?
early modernist residential. Think Schindler, Frank Lloyd Wright, Neutra, all the greats.
Yep. All the California also, based in California, all these buildings. What do you all know about lighting?
Lighting in a whole affects, I think, all your senses, even when it comes to designing something special or meaningful or something for your client. Lighting can affect location, the way you build. It's it affects absolutely everything, in my opinion.
So what do you, now I'm going to repeat it, but I'm going to also add one word. What do you know about lighting fixtures or luminaires?
So like lighting fixtures, they pretty much they control the output of light and they control pretty much like a switch, kind of, pretty much.
Mhm. The controls of it. Yep, yep. Have you, now I'm seeing JA8. Lin Kung, please explain.
You're muted, Lynn. Talk about the NRCCL T1E form and the JA8.
Mhm.
You're
So
muted, Lynn.
elaborate.
Ceiling access lighting requirements have to comply with
Ah.
JAA.
Is that a compliance from the code?
Yes,
Yeah, it is can you hear me okay? Yeah, this is a requirements from Title 24 for the residential lighting quality, residential picture quality. It's
Yes.
DA8 is required for residential areas. Thanks,
So-
Lynn. Now we all know. Yeah, it's just a part of Title 24 for residential construction, not commercial, residential.
So do you have but do you have a perspective on it? Do you know it, but what is your opinion about it?
Has to be airtight, 100% airtight
Mm.
between the room and the attic.
Do you know of light quality? Does anyone know about light quality?
The minimum is 6,200 lumens.
Yep, that is part of light quality. Yep. Any other parts of light quality that you know about? Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll be talking actually also how to learn, how to get the information that you might find interesting, and understand also the how the
Yeah,
business
that's
works also.
Minimum,
And
minimum
where-
62, minimum 6,200 lumens. That's for outdoor lighting.
That is great. Yep. So we'll move. Does anyone else want to, thank you. But does anyone else want to add to that? So this is great. Everyone does have a little bit of information. It's varied, some really specific, which is wonderful, and some qualitative understanding of lighting. So we're going to be really talking about the high level aspects of light, and this is our what we're going to be going through for today. We'll be talking about the landscape of lighting, the field of landscape lighting education, codes and guidelines. It's going to describe codes and guidelines only because we're really talking about the organizations that will give you more, help you learn more about how really lighting works within an environment and the AEC industry, and also what it actually, the importance of the codes and guidelines in relationship to what the lighting industry does, how it influences the codes. We'll be talking about industry and work. We'll have a hands-on, basically a description of how a manufacturer works with lighting designers specifically. And then we'll be talking about making connections and building your network, and how you can build your network to get work and to understand where you might fit into the lighting industry. Then we'll talk about the details of changing a career, and we'll then have a roundtable. We'll be talking about general topics, and please, we just used the chat function. Please, when we are talking, please write into the chat function your questions so that we may be able to answer during our roundtable. People talking today will be, excuse me. I have a little too many things on my screen. Our speakers today, in order of appearance, will be Michelle Murray, Holly Ratavia, Elena Kushinskaya, Christina Hahalia, Mina Yo. I want to give you a little introduction before we all start. Michelle Murray works with HLB. It is HLB was established in 1968. It's short for Horton Lees Brogdon, and it is one of the pioneering light firms and in the United States, and it is the largest lighting design firm in the world. And it's also a female-owned business. I will be the second speaker, and I work for a company called the Producers Group. I work as a sole practitioner, and one of my companies that I work with is the Producers Group that does turnkey projects for themed environments. We do area lighting, which is exterior lighting, and retail environments based on, I'm not going to say architainment, but that's what they used to call it. We also have Elena Kushinskaya. She is a regional sales manager for OCL. OCL is a part of Legrand, and their product line has well building standards that promote human health and well-being. Next, it will be Christine Hahalia, and she works at FMS, Architectural Lighting. That is for Fisher Moran Stone, and it's another story lighting design firm. It was established in 1971. And if you've seen the memorial representing the 9/11 World Trade Towers, it is the lighting installed. It's called Tribute in Light. It's the searchlights that are the shape of the Twin Towers in New York City. That is one of their installations. The next speaker will be Mina Yo, and she works for the engineering firm AMA Group, with their group ALD Lighting. Previously, she worked for over 20 years as an interior designer in the architectural field. The first speaker is Michelle Murray. And so I'm going to ask you, Michelle. Michelle, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is olive green. I love it so much. I have a car that's olive green. So I'll be going over the landscape or the field of lighting education and different opportunities within the lighting industry. So it's not always limited to lighting design or being a lighting designer. So a little bit about myself. I'm an associate lighting designer at Horton Lees Brogdon, as Holly mentioned before. I have a bachelor's degree in interior design from Harding University. I graduated in 2012. I've been in the lighting industry for over 10 years. I joined HLB in 2017, and at my previous firm, I was there for just about 5 years. And so the reason behind the olive green, I just love the passion. I have a passion for nature and hiking. And so something that Olivia, you were mentioning about landscape lighting, I love the opportunity that we have to bring lighting outdoors in a responsible environment. And just activating lush landscape at night. And so it doesn't lose itself in the darkness, that you can bring that to life with lighting. So next slide. So I love this quote: teamwork is the ability to work together toward a common vision, the ability to direct individual accomplishments towards organizational objectives. It is the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. And this is by Andrew Carnegie. And the reason I wanted to bring this quote is there's so many people involved in the lighting industry. And so I'll be going over, sales agencies and manufacturers and distributors. We're all needed to provide a successful project. And so I feel like every single part plays a huge role into making sure that the lighting design is successful. So there is a wide landscape of opportunities to get a lighting education that focuses on the technical aspects of architectural design. So there are other aspects of the lighting field besides design that can interest you. So any of these paths can lead you to a successful career in the lighting industry. And so something to note that these are minimum requirements is a high school diploma and a passion for lighting. So I'll get a little bit deeper into each of these avenues within the lighting industry. So there's the educational pathways, and then there's the career pathways, like where can this lead you into another realm. And so you can go to a four-year university and get your undergrad or graduate. Undergrad will allow you to move forward with these lighting design avenues. So each of these, as you can get your theatrical lighting undergrad, architectural lighting, architectural engineering, and electrical engineering. And then that can then lead to a career pathway and a placement with a lighting firm, and also internships. We always have interns within our firm, and we love having interns there because they can learn so much in the field. And so you can intern while you're getting your degree. So that's always something to think about. And then there's the sales agencies. We work with over 7 sales agencies that are so pertinent to understanding the quality of products and the breadth of products, and they can come into our office all the time looking at product. And so this is something that you can go into and you can learn in the field. So this is something you can get into very early on, and you can work on different types of projects and work with a lot of different lighting designers. That can lead to a career path with being a lead sales agent. That can also lead you into, maybe you find yourself going into a lighting design firm. So I've personally known people who have started as a sales agent and moved into the lighting, becoming a lighting designer, and vice versa. So there's a lot of different avenues. And so similar to the sales agencies, you can be a manufacturer's rep. So they are very specific in one product or one type of product, similar to OCL that we have, that will go a little bit further into it. And then moving forward to the national distributors or distributors that are working closely with contractors. And they are very pertinent for understanding lead times and how to get to the product onto the job site in a safe, secure way. And then that can also lead you into connections with other sales agencies and manufacturer reps if that's the avenue that you would want to change your career in. And then I wanted to touch on the IES and ILD, and this is lighting associations that I'm heavily involved in. And IES has some online classes. They also have local in-person classes. So one that I've personally taken is Lighting 101. And so these are very condensed and focused classes that you can get ahead in understanding a little bit more about lighting. And then there's ILD that also has careers within that association. And so this can get you also involved with your career pathways similar to the sales agencies, manufacturers, and distributors. So there's many, many, many ways to get involved in the lighting industry, and starting somewhere. Definitely recommend learning in the field or getting an internship. So I will pass it off to Holly. What is your favorite color?
Well, actually, I don't really have a favorite color. I'm the secretary of the IES color committee, and I would feel actually disloyal to all the colors that we have within the spectrum, because at our committee, we work on the standards for measuring color quality. And we authored the standard called TM30, which is an alternative to CRI. And if you're interested, we can talk about that further. But before I do, I wanted to talk about just my background as well. I started at Florida State University, graduated from UCLA at theater, and I was a theater designer. And then I went and received a master's in performance and cultural studies. And that I moved then into being a full-time production manager and lighting designer. Knowing that I wanted to teach, I realized that my master's didn't give me a finite degree, and I didn't want to get a PhD. This is the truth. And so I then went to Parsons and studied architectural lighting design. And I fell in love with architectural lighting design over theatrical lighting design. I now work for a company called the Producers Group, as I said, and we do turnkey projects. And that means we really work in entertainment theater spaces that are immersive. So we work in immersive projects. So that is my background, not far from theatrical lighting. It's just, it really though merges very finely into architectural lighting design more fully. I'm also part of the Los Angeles Lighting Speakers Bureau, and the Los Angeles Lighting Speakers Bureau, we organize these talks for schools. We organize these talks for middle schools. We have done work with elementary schools, and we do hands-on projects with high schools. I'm a mentor also at ACE Mentors, and this is one of the students' work that they have produced. It is very hands-on projects that we work on, and really gives high schoolers an understanding of what lighting can do and what quality of light can achieve in spaces, and how we can direct our perceptions to the space around us. But now here is the information about lighting organizations and other organizations within that can help you work and understand lighting more fully. So this diagram shows a customary way to think about the building industry and where lighting falls within that industry. You might usually just say that the codes that we had talked about, Lynn talked about, the codes are influenced by guidelines, and the codes require the licensed professions to adhere to basically rules. And the lighting industry advises the architects and the engineers to follow those rules, follow them and saying we are the experts in those particular rules. We understand them. This is what the rules are. And this is how you can have a really wonderfully great design from using those rules. It also helps each facet by providing guidance using technical tools. We're the technicians who can calculate the light levels and proper equipment, lighting fixtures to follow the rules. However, that is just not the whole story. This description only tells a portion of the story. There are other businesses who perform valuable functions within the lighting industry, and also about bringing about a finished building. And also there are the role of the lighting designer can be much more nuanced than just filling a light level and perhaps a lighting, color temperature. There are, within the lighting industry, there are lighting representatives who represent the manufacturers. This is the lighting distributor who works with the contractor to procure the fixtures on time and on budget. There are also integrators. Now, integrators assist the designers and the electricians in the field to synchronize lighting controls so they are integrated into the building automation system. Coming around full circle, the whole lighting field is active in the membership organizations that I was talking about. These organizations develop, test, and fine-tune the standards and guidelines that help build the codes that architects and engineers follow. They also help to bring the new standards into daily practice through advocacy and education. These organizations influence the codes. So we see Illuminating Engineering Society. These are all ANSI. They go under they follow ANSI rules, which means we have to have a certain percentage of manufacturers. We have to have a certain percentage of users and specifiers who are lighting designers and engineers. They are the users. We have to have a certain percentage of general public. That would be the, for our committee, that is the general public are the academics, and they're very important to our committee, because really we get the information from the academics. We utilize it, we test it. They understand what the problems are with the technical aspects of if we're doing an application aspect. The users are very influential with really asking the academics, we need this type of study so that we can actually assuredly say this information is clear and valuable to all the other lighting specialists and other engineers who do work on projects. And then we have that group vote. We bring that vote to the main organization, and then the organization sets out a vote for the the general public to review, and then it becomes an ANSI standard, and these ANSI standards become part of code. So when you work and you're a member, work with as a volunteer and a member of these organizations, you have actually a really great say in how our built environment will look and feel. Part of the work that the tasks going forward within this landscape of lighting is education, is this high level view of the pipeline. These are our work roles and our tasks that we do. If you're interested and you have some of these skills on the right-hand side, you will know a little bit where you fit within the work roles. So the lighting designer, it acts like the architect for a project, but with light. And so they have the full scope of project in their mind. The lighting representative and lighting designers and electrical engineers I have to add that. The lighting representatives and manufacturers, they work hand in hand with the lighting designers to really understand what the fixtures are, what the equipment is, what they do, and how they will work with all the other components within a lighting system, which is great right now. And so then we have the integrator, distributor, contractor, an electrician. Those are all, they work during the, we have the schematic phase, we have the design development phase, and then we have the contract document phase. They work very specifically within the contract document phase to really get what the intricate amount of equipment that one has to specify and install correctly. Importantly, the manual of operation is the guideline for the owner, and that final document has all members contributing to that document to make sure that the owner knows how to work with the project also itself. And we will now then, and I missed one thing. The most important feature that a lighting industry professional needs is to have a good, an accurate sense. I'm going to say this better. They just need to be good communicators. And it doesn't need to be speaking. Some of us, as you can tell from me, I'm a little bit more introverted. So I have a really great communication skill of writing and visual, and I have a good eye. If you have good visual communication, if you yourself have a really great way of communicating something that is ineffable in terms of light, we don't notice it until we notice it's gone, and we notice it bouncing on an object. If you find that you are able to communicate that well, that's what we need for a lighting designer and anyone in the lighting field. The next person talking will be Elena Kushinskaya. Elena, what is your favorite color?
Well, my favorite color is whatever looks good when you install the lighting fixture. So they have to be really lifelike and contribute to the overall feeling of being happy in the space, and that would be my favorite color. About me a little bit, I came from Ukraine many years ago, so there I had a BS in electrical engineering, and I have an MBA from Pepperdine here in Los Angeles or in Malibu, but I got into the lighting industry by chance. It was back when we were faxing resumes, so I faxed a bunch of resumes to a bunch of companies, and I had about 200 rejection letters that I kept for a couple of years, and then got rid of it. But the one company that offered me a job actually was a company in Indianapolis, where I was living back then, and I started in the lighting industry. I could hardly speak English, so I needed a job where I didn't do a lot of speaking. And I started as a tester for lighting fixtures. I actually put thermocouples and saw how the lighting fixture performed, whether we can get it UL approved or not. And then everything else that I got into in my career was always lighting related. All the classes that I took, and one of them, as you can see, CLEP, it's a Certified Lighting Efficiency Professional. It was very interesting to me how you can create light with less power being out. And the movement really started years ago, before it was in fashion to be even talking about it. And then I got a WELL AP, and I love the standard because it allows the standard constantly changing. It's not issued once and forgotten. It is for buildings that are living buildings, and people test it all the time to make sure it performs how the architect and the designers thought it should be performing. And I've been in my current position with the OCL for 9 years now, and I am a regional sales manager. And my main job in sales is to promote OCL, our abilities, our capabilities, and our fixtures for to the lighting designers to be used in lighting projects. Also, we work with interior designers, electrical engineers, and a lot with architects, because those people really stamp the drawings. And so it's important to provide the quality that they're expecting from us. If you could please go to the next slide. So this is, we talked about, where who falls in and where and how it works. So this is a very minimal slide to show you the market dynamics. From a lighting fixture manufacturing perspective, we are working with agency. Every agency has a bunch of lighting fixture manufacturers, and we are just one line on their line card. You can see here the agency is somebody who puts the puzzle pieces together. So the agency works with designers, who is an architect, interior designer, electrical engineer, lighting designer, and these people work with the owner. Owner is the one who has the vision for the project and wants to spend money on the project and wants to make sure that the project at the end is being built on time and within the budget. So agency have relationship with all the manufacturers on their line card. They have relationship with designers. And then agency also has the relationship with contractors and distributors. And this is important because everybody who is in this chain adds a value to it. So that has to be considered by the agency who works with distributors. And just to give you an idea, so what does the owner value? The owner value expertise, creativity, relationship, and understanding of the concept, communication, timeliness with the designers. So what is important for the agency? For the agency, important to understand what each manufacturer can do, what lighting fixtures they have, and which budget they can come in and create the opportunity for manufacturers. That is important. Who is a designer in this chain? The designer is a creative visionary who tells the story. This is the person who specifies manufacturers to create that vision. And who is the manufacturer? The company that obviously puts together resources, expertise, engineering, procurement, relationship with the vendors, and creates the product that the designer has envisioned. The contractor is the team that builds everything and makes sure it works properly. So it could be all great on the drawing, but if the contractor doesn't make it work, and what are you going to do? So they also are important because they estimate the bids, create a schedule together with the construction team of an architect. We want it all to be built on time and within the budget that is allocated. And distributor falls into this chain as a very important piece because they are sending POs to all the manufacturers. They are checking the submittals. They make sure that whatever comes back from the manufacturer is what really was something that the contractor ordered. And they also have to send us a PO very early on to make sure that it delivers on time. And that is an important role of a distributor. And then they also pay the manufacturers that participate in the project. So everybody in this chain is very important. If you could please go to the next slide. So, from the point of view of the lighting fixture manufacturer, we produce products, and there are a lot of lighting fixture manufacturers that make products and they don't modify. We happen to be the company that modifies and also creates custom products. You can order one-of-a-kind product from us and we'll create it for the designer, for the design team. Just want to give you an idea that Sam Walton, who organized the Walmart, said years ago, there is only one boss, it's the customer, and he can fire everybody in the company simply because by spending money elsewhere. So from my company has been in business for 50 years and we produce the lighting fixtures. So when we show the product on our website, the designer looks at the product on our website and they don't look at the product, they look at the vision that they have. And that vision comes from the project owner. The designers always create and tell the story. So they start putting pieces together with the qualified manufacturers, and they look at the product on our website and they create something that is modified. Like you can see here on the left, there are products that we show, and the designer has a vision of creating something that fits the design vision better. And so we, the manufacturer, help create this vision. Next slide, please. Our customers don't specify the lights, they tell the story. And that is crucial to be able to communicate the story to the lighting fixture manufacturer. So here you can see a drawing that the architect sent to us. And the next slide will show you what it really looks like when it is installed. So the communication is a key. This is another example of you're using the same lighting fixture, the same exact extrusion, and then you create a vision where you have the chasing light and the light that is changing colors every 6 inches in this particular instance. And this is installed in the stadium in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is not the best shot, but this is something that our engineers did during the installation of this particular product. So, from the lighting perspective, from the lighting manufacturer perspective, important is to have relationship with the agency, with the designers, to really produce and help the designer implement the vision into life. So that would be my story. And thank you, Holly. Thanks everybody for your attention. So coming back to the market dynamics, so you I hope you understand where the pieces fall in, that everybody is important. And that would be just a glimpse into how the industry is organized. Thank you.
So the next speaker is Christina Hahalia. Christina, what is your favorite color?
Hi, everyone. My favorite color is Naples yellow because that is the color I use to diagram light with. So thank you. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm Christina Hahalia. I am an architectural lighting designer, and I'm here to talk about making connections and building networks. So a little bit about myself. First and foremost, I went to undergrad at the University of San Francisco, and I studied architecture and community design. Our program was very much focused around community engagement, equitable design, understanding the needs of users and who you're designing for, and there was a huge focus around social responsibility. So I knew that I always wanted to go back to school to get my master's, and I was looking to get a master's in architecture. Somehow in my research, I came across Parsons New School for Design in New York, same school that Holly went. And I came across a lighting design program there. So eventually I got accepted, and 3 weeks later, I left LA and moved everything to New York. So it was definitely a happy accident in terms of how I fell into the industry. So the next slide, in terms of the work that we do, again, I'm a a designer at, or a design associate at Fisher Rand Stone, we get to work on a little bit of everything. I've had the opportunity to work on museum projects, cultural institutions, theater projects, government projects, offices. There's just been a wonderful variety of work that I've been afforded the opportunity to work on. And that's really what has kept me on my toes this entire time at FMS for the last 10 years. And so in terms of making connections, you can go to the next slide. The question is why should we, right? So on the next, you'll see kind of the way I want to compartmentalize this conversation. We're going to review it in the context of being a student and in the context of being in our lighting industry. And then of course, I want to touch on the topic around the big question, how can doing so get you a job or get you a career? And so in the context of building your network and making connections as a student, if you go to the next slide, please. First and foremost, it affords you the opportunity to meet professionals in fields you might be interested in, and you can start making those connections early on before you start your career. And I guarantee that by making and establishing those connections and talking to more and more professionals, I'm sure you'll learn something new that you didn't know before. It'll afford you the opportunity to gain access to new information, as well as different perspectives. And of course, you can start your long-lasting personal relationships with these various people that you meet. And most importantly, as a student, you'll be able to explore various sectors before committing to a path. So that was one thing that I wish I had more exposure to. If I knew that there were other worlds out there aside from architecture, aside from, I guess, construction, if I knew that there was a sector in lighting beforehand, I probably would have wanted to learn more about it, or even an interior design, right? So I have a better understanding of finishes and how finishes work with light. So I guess all to say that talking to people early on will give you time to explore those paths and navigate through that. And you can ask any questions you want. I mean, it's really the best time to be most vulnerable, to do it early on and take advantage of those opportunities. So the last point on this as being a student is you really will have the upper hand on promoting yourself as a person, as an individual, and you'll be able to have one-on-one conversations with people to talk about what you're capable of. And also going back to this idea of communicating and how important that is, it'll allow you to practice communicating effectively with others. And then on the next slide, in terms of making connections and building your network in the industry. So part of our role as lighting designers is to essentially shop for light fixtures, and we specify these light fixtures on projects that we work on. So Elena touched on the breakdown of the players in our industry and how we work together or adjacent with others. And most of the interfacing that we do, if it's not with a project owner or the client, it's with our sales rep agencies and manufacturers. So it's really important that we have a relationship with them, and we have the ability to explain to them more in depth about the design objectives of the project. We can speak to our reps so that we understand what they're capable of in terms of customization or modifications, and we can work with them closely to see if they can implement our design the way that it should be. And of course, you know, this helps because we can build trust within other professionals in the industry. And it's really beneficial to be able to nurture these relationships. Of course, it would strengthen our support network. And in the past, I found that reps and manufacturers have been very supportive of the projects that we're working on in our office in the field. And it's, you know, there might be an instance in the field where something goes wrong due to field conflicts, and the light fixtures that are already on site, there might need to be a field modification. So I've always found that I've had really great support around me to help find a solution that was a result of an unexpected conflict. And just in terms of why this matters indirectly is, once you start establishing your career and you end up in a career within the AEC industry, you'll find that, again, indirectly maintaining these networks and doing so will maintain the company reputation and, of course, in the long run, improve business growth. And so the last note on this idea in the industry is part of our role as lighting designers is to keep up with the times and understand changing technologies. We're always learning, technology is always changing. So I have found personally that when I want to learn something new about a new product line that's trending or a new light source that's trending, I often ask reps and manufacturers questions because they're wonderful resources to help us keep a pulse on the job market and also stay in touch with the current trends. So finally, the big question, how can we leverage these connections to get a job or get a career? And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience. There were a few steps that I took proactively as I was approaching graduation out of Parsons. And the first thing I did was to do research on various companies and to understand their vision. And I reached out. So I kind of went wild and made a very long list of lighting firms that I heard about in New York City and in LA, because LA is where I'm from originally. And I found people to speak with companies, became very curious about the work that they do and what roles they played, and asked about the day-to-day in the office. So I was very curious. I asked a lot of questions to allow me to navigate what kind of workplace I wanted to be in or what kind of work I wanted to do. So in fact, I even asked to have informational interviews with professionals, which I thought was really helpful for me because, first of all, it took the pressure off of me being interviewed, and instead I would interview the other side, right? So I was able to use that as an opportunity to be vulnerable, ask any question I wanted. And 100% of the time, they were very happy to allow me into their office to show me around and to answer any questions I had. So as everyone in this program, you're all in the AEC world, I encourage all of you to do the same. Reach out to architects, interior designers, lighting designers, construction companies, sales rep agencies, manufacturers, ask questions, understand what they do, because it'll really help inform some of your decisions as you're changing careers or as you're going into a specific career. And also, Michelle mentioned this earlier, but of course, internships are a great way to do that and to understand more in depth what the day-to-day is like. It allows you to test the waters and, of course, expand your network. And Holly's touched on this as well, but another vessel, if you are interested more in lighting, in the lighting world, is to, of course, join local chapters, organizations, join events, attend events. There's emerging professional chapters as part of the IES organization. It's the Illuminating Engineering Society. So there's opportunities there as well. So yeah, that's what I have to say. And I'm gonna pass it off to Mina, who's next in line to talk to everyone. Mina, what is your favorite color?
Thank you. My favorite color is purple because I am a big fan of BTS, or BTS Army as we call ourselves, and purple is the color that runs through our blood. So hi, everyone. It's great to be talking to all of you today. I have met Professor Oliva before through my former boss, and I also just live about a couple miles down from LATTC off of Washington. So it's really great to be speaking with all of you today. Just to give you a quick background, I graduated from Woodbury University with a degree in interior design and been working for over 20 years as a commercial interior designer. I received a certificate in lighting design from Otis College of Art and Design, and I have master's from USC in entrepreneurship. I made a career pivot a couple of years ago to become an architectural lighting designer with AOD Lighting. Next slide. What I want to share with you today is really my journey to become a lighting designer, in the hopes that there are some things here that might resonate with some of you, because while we all have our individual stories, the lessons from them can be universal. Next one. My family immigrated to the States after my father passed away and settled down in Koreatown in LA. My mom had a small store in a building off of 7th and Union, right at the corner. And for a few years, we were doing okay. And then the LA riot happened. The store burned down, we lost a livelihood, and my mother never really became financially stable. Needless to say, there were a lot of uncertainties in my high school years. When I got accepted into FIDM for a 2-year degree in interior design, I was really ready to take it so I could finish school early and contribute to the family sooner. It was with the encouragement from my mother and also the high school counselor that I applied to other four-year schools. And when Woodbury University offered partial scholarship along with grants, I accepted that. Next one. When I finished Woodbury, I thought I was done with school for good. I settled into my career as a commercial interior designer, primarily focusing on creative offices for the first 10 years, and then later shifting that focus to designing spaces for K-12 and higher education. Looking back on it, however, I think it was all very status quo, and I was unknowingly seeking a higher level of purpose. Now, I mentioned earlier that my father passed away. He was just shy of 42 when he passed away. And when I turned 42, waking up that morning and realizing I am outliving him, it almost felt like I was given a second chance in life. And I wanted to be more proactive with my life decisions. So that day, I reached out to Otis to sign up for a lighting design program there. And as an interior designer, I designed lighting for most of the projects that I worked on. And lighting was a portion that I really got me excited. So I made a decision to learn it at a deeper level. And this one step left me wanting and eventually wanting more. And then eventually led me to applying for and getting into a master's program at USC. All these, the certificate in lighting design and the masters, were really to enhance my work as an interior designer and as a tool to transition from being an employee to ownership in the architecture firm where I was with, or so I thought. Next. In the third of 7 semesters of my graduate school, COVID hit all of us. I was fortunate to continue on with the job I had, but with the uncertainty of where it was all going, which was just so very prevalent, and working from home, the work-life boundary was completely lost. I was working on one end of the dining table and then moving just one chair over to eat my meals. And while constantly looking over to see if a client email came through or a Slack message from coworkers. The burnout was real, and it was manifesting physically and mentally. When I caught myself wishing I didn't want to wake up the next morning, I remembered, I am now several years older than my father, and in a stage of life he never got to see. So again, I took a proactive stance. I wanted to focus on things I was passionate about, and it was lighting design. I applied for a position at a large lighting design firm, HOB, and then reached out to a former instructor from Otis for a reference. Coincidentally, and maybe serendipitously, he had just started a lighting studio with an AMA group and was looking to hire a designer. So in the summer of 2021, I graduated from USC with a master's degree and made a career pivot to become an architectural lighting designer. Next slide. So that was my long-winded story about how I became a lighting designer. And what I hope you would take away from all of this, if you're inclined, are 1, have curiosity. Don't limit yourself to just the immediate task when you're working. Have curiosity and learn about it. It might open doors you might not realize can open for you. And it's okay to reach a little further than you think you can manage. If you're confident and you can do X amount of something, always know that you can do X plus alpha. All those little bits add up and beget you achievement you didn't think possible. Also, find the motivation to keep going. For me, it was outliving my father. The trigger is different for each person. And those down points in your life or career, if you look hard all around you, you can find opportunities to rise out of it. Lastly, I'm stealing a tagline from AIA Women in Architecture Committee from this year, which is shine your light, be your own advocate. I'm going to leave you with this quote from one of my favorite designers, Laurent Roté. Take a rock, for example, it is so benign, so unappealing. However, if you place it in the right kind of light and play with the shadows it creates, a photograph of that rock can be very beautiful. Unlike a rock, you can shine that light onto yourself. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Holly.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mina. That's wonderful. We have lots and lots of questions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not stop. I will stop sharing, and we will see everyone in gallery mode. And so we will answer the questions. We also have some prepared questions, but I think we have so many questions here that we hopefully will be able to get to every question, or get to a lot of questions, I think. So I'm going to start with questions. The first one that I see is to our group. Do you do internships throughout the year or only in the summer? Who is this addressed? Who is this? This is for Michelle, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So Michelle, do you do internships throughout the year or summer? I think you have answered it, and you say they typically last for one semester and they can be any time of the year, spring, summer, or fall. So
Yeah,
then
that's
we have
correct.
the next. Oh, continue to talk.
So that it's up to you, but we tend to limit it to 3 months, but whatever works with your schedule and the availability that's there.
And then there is, I think, a continuation of questions. It says, where would I go to look up an internship opportunity? And Martin Gomez, that was from Alexander. And Michelle says we can touch base after this presentation. And I also want to add that we have a handout for you, and that will also provide you with information about internships and scholarships and other types of opportunities that you might have, and the addresses for, or the emails, connections to the organizations that we've talked about also. So you will, Marcella, did you receive the PDF I sent you? If
I
not, I
believe-
will.
I'll post it on the chat in a second. I
Okay,
have a
okay.
question whenever it's appropriate.
Sure. Please ask.
Okay.
Please ask away. Yeah.
So first of all, thank you so much. Super informative, because we think of lighting and there's so much about lighting, right? And your presentations were very visual, very good. So one first thing, you know, as a teacher, you always go like, what software, what skill, what code, what standards, and we try to cover it all. But most important, I try to generate minds that are smart, tangible, resilient, and enough to be trained. So how do I create a mind that can be trained? Because as we all know, you know, depending on the different industries they go, the different companies, they're going to require a very focused training, right? And many of our students might only have the opportunity at this point to only do an Associates of Architecture and Environmental Design. And I keep telling them that there are opportunities. I know all of you guys have high degrees, but I keep telling them that in the industry, if you guys are agile, collaborative, hard worker, there's still opportunities. And I just wanted you to assure me that, or what can I do to make sure I create a fertile mind to be fastly trained so you guys have a good return of investment? Or what do you think about what I just said?
That's a great question. And the reason why we're doing with the Speaker Bureau is working, and I'm just going to answer this because that's the reason for the Speakers Bureau. We noticed that we have the lighting industry has a very small, does not have a long amount of, a long list of architecture, lighting design schools. It does not have that. And so we also know that a good portion of people come in it later at, not a second career, but they have worked in the workplace before and then found lighting, or they find lighting and then they choose to go to graduate school. So, I mean, that we noticed that, and this is why we're having these conversations. So for IES, it's LA, and IES itself, this has been noted. And what most of us have, how we discuss it, we're saying you can get a way to get into the door by being in an agency, a rep agency. You can get into the door by working as a distributor. You can get into the door by working into as a CAD technician for the manufacturers. These are the ways you can 100% get into the door. All you need is for sales reps, they want someone to communicate very well. If you are a good talker and you really understand and have a passion, then you will have a good, you can get into the door, and then you have your career path, and then you choose it. And I had seen a video once before about a fashion designer, but I'm just going to tell the story. It's she received her AA degree, and then she had internships in all of Los Angeles's fashion district shops. And she worked, and distributors. She worked with all the different, the pipeline. And then she found out what she wanted to be doing. And then she became a designer for a brand label. So that, I like telling that story. That's possible. And internships is going to be a really great way for you to start understanding informational interviews and internships, and be persistent with these companies, because it is new-ish. And just say the LA Lighting Speakers Bureau would like to have, you will contact us, and we will then introduce you, because this is something that we are talking about, and that's why we're having this conversation. Does that answer?
No, that's
yes,
perfect.
no, but
no, this I appreciate that, because I think that we had the same goal with this talk. And before we go, just 1 minute, Janitz, if you can show your ADU animation with lighting and your lamp that you design and study all the lumens. At any point, let us know, and I would like you to share the screen so you can see the quality of work that that they can produce. So thank you.
I also
More
wanted
questions?
to add to that, actually, just in terms of the perspective as a lighting designer, because I've had the opportunity to be part of the recruiting efforts in our own office. And so a lot of the students that come and ask us questions are, very interested in design. And it's a little different, right? So there's a technical aspect to lighting, or an art and science, it's almost like art and science almost, or art and technology. So sometimes we get students who are very much interested in design and have a really great design sensibility, and might not be so strong in some of the softwares we use. But in our office, we do have, we find that kind of stuff easy to train people on. We have our own, we call them boot camps, when they are, entering an internship with our office. And I think first and foremost, what we look for is the enthusiasm and the curiosity, and that design sensibility, because that, once you have that passion and once you have that interest, the rest is much easier to train people on.
Yeah, I would like to add also, if my company is located in St. Louis, Missouri, but if anybody is interested in informational interview with my engineering manager to understand better what is important or what is needed for being an electrical engineer or an engineer with our company, I would be happy to schedule with him an informational interview with my engineering manager so he can kind of guide you through what's needed. Maybe even you can want to relocate to St. Louis, who knows? If you've never been there, maybe for a short time, just for internship or something. But reach out to me. We always need good people. Every manufacturer needs good people to do different things, different tasks. So yeah, if somebody's interested in informational interview with my engineering manager, I'll be happy to arrange for it.
I am. I would love to know more so I can train the students. We have a class called MEP and Drafting 63. So I just want to make sure we at least touch up, what is the job description.
Do we, I'm sorry, do we have time for any more questions, or what we can do is collect them perhaps? And then you can send them to me, and then we'll see if I can get people to answer them. Would that be?
We have 10 more minutes if you want. Janitzi is going to share something really quick, if it's okay with you guys. And if you want, we have about 5 or 10 more minutes. It's up to you. I know you guys are super busy.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Can you?
Yes,
You can hear
Janitzi.
me.
Yes, Janitzi, please share with us your beautiful. 3D Studio is a lot about lighting, and this.
Right, we spend a whole chapter on lighting. This is basically one of the projects I did, not thinking that it could relate to this profession actually, but now that I see it, it makes sense. I wanted to recreate a lamp on 3ds Max, and from scratch I created this with Primitive, and then to render it I actually had to put in the lighting. So this is my render, and this is the original lamp I wanted to create. And then going into the program where we have to create a ADU, and I also had to input lighting for that. And we not only use 3ds Max, but we also used Twinmotion. So this is an animation in Twinmotion. And on here we had to also put the environment and the lighting. And this is a little snippet of the rooms inside.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Like your daylighting also as well.
Right.
That's fabulous. And all of these, we're doing the construction documents too. We're working with the city, so it can be more like a drag and drop, so we can provide housing to more people that are beautiful. And we just joined the Bauhaus in Berlin this morning, and I didn't even send them this one. And this is the beauty of the community colleges. Remember, it's not even, she'll be probably graduating very soon, but it's only 2 years, and the untapped talent in our communities. I haven't seen this one. This is the first time this is her final. So, but she took a whole semester in construction documents and interiors, and this is fabulous.
Yes, I have also almost finishing my lighting plans on Revit for this ADU.
Thank you for
Just
sharing.
wanted to share.
Yes, thank you, Janita. Do you mind putting this PowerPoint in the chat for me directly, please? I'm meeting
Yes.
with a few architectural firms later on today, and this is fabulous.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Janitsi. Well, I'm a lot about, can everybody put a reaction to the presentation first? And then, there you go. We like to give a lot of hearts and applause. And also now a reaction for Janitsi, a second reaction. I'm gonna give her a tada. Ooh, you got fire from Jonathan. Jonathan also has a beautiful fly through he's showing. So I'm so happy you guys got to see a little bit from the student work and quality, and I think they got super inspired from your presentation, that there's room, more important, there's so much room for their talent.
Right.
There's definitely talent for 3D skills as well. There's a particularly in my industry that I work with, we are always asking for massing models, and that's very valuable. And just we use them as part of our schematic and concept work. So that work is very useful and done well. That's the important part.
Very beautiful.
Is there another person that we're looking at, another person's work?
No, not right now, because I wanted to focus on your questions, but I wanted at least 2 minutes so you could see a little bit of the potential of our communities. And but no, we would like more questions, unless
No,
There is one question that is interesting to me. It is from Juliana Daniel, and it is, what are the best lighting one should use in the office, LED or fluorescent? LED is a great source. It's very easy to control. It's a beautiful color. You can dim it, you can make it warm. I don't think any manufacturer is designing with fluorescent lamps in mind for many reasons. It's an older technology. So definitely, to answer your question, definitely LED lighting for the office, and not the fluorescent. Pretty soon you won't be able to even buy fluorescent ballasts anymore. I think it's just getting out the door pretty soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to ask that question because when I did do a small semester in lighting, I realized I was purchasing the wrong bulb for my home, right? I wasn't getting the correct image, the aesthetic for my home. So, getting the correct lighting was perfect. And then I noticed in our office, a lot of us have problem with our eyes. With the computer and the lighting is not the correct lighting. And even though I told them they're using the wrong lights, they haven't changed it as yet, but at least I'm aware that it's incorrect. And that's the reason why I have problems with my eyes. And a lot of us have to use eye drops because of the dry eyes, right? And again, I believe with that now, it also have the mood in the office is it's not I would say more inclusive, happy, everybody tends to come in grumpy. So I'm wondering if it's because of the lighting also.
Yeah.
So,
and even coffee doesn't help anymore, right?
No,
Everybody's grumpy in the morning. Yeah, definitely LEDs. There are beautiful choices, even if it is a replacement lamp instead of incandescent, or halogen go to LED replacement lamp. But there are nice choices that are LED. Definitely fluorescent is an old technology.
And I think it will be very helpful for us as co-workers be in a healthy working environment with proper lighting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I want to make one standout comment though. I have a family of people, we have macular degeneration, and one family members who are legally blind. And so within these specific people, LEDs have a certain amount of glare. And so that's the one thing that we're working on with LEDs, is to actually mitigate glare. While LEDs are far better, and they're going to be more efficacious, they're going to be more energy savings when they are multicolored, and then with controls. So they will have to be LEDs just because they will need to be controlled. They will be more energy saving. They will have more energy savings in 10 years by far any other fixture. So that's what we have. The big problem is glare. And so when you're saying the dry eyes, if you do have some LEDs, and we're not selling you a bill of goods that they're far superior, it's just that they are, there are still some LEDs that are less useful for us at this moment. So you'll want to make sure that the quality of the light is appropriate, and it has shielding. So those are things that we have to know as lighting designers to make sure that we're not actually harming some people in that way also. So it's not fully there yet for that specific purpose, but I would say 85%. 85% of people won't notice it. 90% of people won't notice it. Just for those little groups of people who do have problems, it is a problem. So that's just something to know about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll take one more question from Jack Holy.
Yes. Jack, what is your question? I'm looking for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna speak, if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
No, just upon looking at most of you guys' portfolios via your websites, I see most of the work is commercial. I assume there is an avenue for residential work as well, assuming either through other firms or maybe just like projects you guys work on that are less like portfolio driven or like less large scale. Is there any chance you guys could just speak on that quickly?
Michelle, I saw you
Christy, you wanna
unmute.
go?
I'll go after you.
I'm sure Christina has a similar answer, but we do have high-end residential, so we have smaller scale projects, but I would say that we do have a minimum requirement just for us to, get in the door and be able to have enough to work on. So I would say there's a fee requirement. So not necessarily scale of project, but we do have a high-end residential group within our firm.
And at FMS, we do have a lot of residential work that we work on. It's just not published necessarily on our website because of, we sign NDAs on the business side of things. There's security reasons for that, but we do have, I would probably say about 30% of our work could be high-end residential, and maybe sometimes hospitality that we can't really speak about until it's published, to the world.
Yeah, for ALD lighting as well. I mean, I think we have a small faction of residential projects that said, we're just kind of starting up, so we don't really have that in the portfolio included just yet. And also, I am kind of noticing that, like, I personally prefer more commercial projects, but my coworker really prefers residential projects. So, we kind of like split it that way too.
Sweet, thanks for the answers, guys. Just curious. You guys are great though.
I'm a commercial designer. So I have small industrial projects that I've worked on, and those are local. too. So yeah, there's some, but there's work being done on residential. So I don't have an organization listed, but and I should, because my perspective was so commercially based when I wrote the list. Marcella, I will update it and include the residential lighting lighting society, and it's the American. There's two, and I'll just include those also for your classes. So
Okay, yeah,
but
that'd be
I
great.
don't have those. Yeah, I will include that.
And then when we put it in our YouTube channel, we can put all those attachments.
It can be a link because our links to our the IESLA's website and the Los Angeles Lighting Speakers Bureau, we have all the information here. So you can also link to the IES.
Wonderful. Well, I cannot thank you enough. This is absolutely incredible. It's very encouraging for all of us to see your interest and to see the potential and the connection. I deeply appreciate, and I hope to stay in touch with all of you. There's so much to do in our world, and we just is matter of numbers and math. Unless we have more people participating, we're not gonna make it. We just need more people participating in the built environment and its healthy connection to nature. So you just reinforce a lot of our beliefs, and I'm so proud of all my students and our community. And you leave me with a lot of hope. It was very well designed and presented to us, and we feel extremely honored. And you want to have some closing thoughts, each of you, or whatever you prefer?
I'll start. I will ask if anybody has any closing thoughts. I can just say thank you very much for having us speak today. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I like all those. I love all these questions, and I'm serious. If we can gather them up, I'll see if I can get some answers for people.
Hello?
Yes, Jonathan.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, nice. I just wanted to know, touch base on what kind of programs do you actually use to create this type of designs? Like for example, the ones that you showed us in the creative spaces. More in that sense of route, like we want to know, should we use Revit? Should we use Rhino? Should we use what type of software best fits the engineer, since we are an architecture major.
If I may speak on that just a little bit, again, my background has been in the architecture field for over 20 years. Revit is definitely a program you want to be on and be very proficient in. So even in the lighting industry, I think I think there was a time when we were seeing mostly AutoCAD work, but as an industry, we're really definitely transitioning into Revit. So now that I'm with the architecture firm in the lighting practice, even on the MEP side, we're just heavily into Revit. As a firm, we're going to make an initiative to transition completely into Revit. So I think Rhino is great for generating renderings, and it's going to be really a wonderful tool for your portfolio. But really, the Revit use is going to be very, very important.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you. It was very informal. I didn't know this part of the industry was this big, to be quite frank with you. Maybe the promoting and everything is going very well now that you're speaking to a younger audience. So I just want to thank you for your time. And yeah.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. feel free to reach out with any questions.
Great presentation. I loved it. It was very informative and, eye-opening. Now we know that there's more than just designing buildings that, landscaping. Now I know that there's a lighting design out there, so I can look into. Thank you very much. It was a great presentation. Loved it.
Can I ask a question concerning landscaping and lighting? Because I love plants and I know the importance of having natural light is for the plants. And at nighttime, I make sure I take off my back porch so my plants don't get light because they need, again, the nighttime for them to rejuvenate themselves. So what type of lighting is used in landscaping, and is it something environmental friendly for the wildlife, for nature also,
If you might look at the website Dark Skies, another organization that I didn't include. So I'm going to include Dark Sky also and in the notes, but take a look at their website. They are particularly about lowering sky glow, and there's also Design Lights Consortium. They're doing really great work right now, getting not necessarily getting standards. I'm just going to say they're working closely with developing, and not them in particular developing the standards, but the people from them. They're writing the papers, and that is influencing the standards actually as we speak right now for understanding lighting and how lighting affects the environment in terms of its color and the properties of the color within the exterior environments. Because so that's an important issue, because before we weren't able to actually measure those. There was no standard to measure lights that did protect wildlife, and so now we're actually including those fixtures that those colors that the fixtures can produce. And have it standardized, and that will be really helpful for designers, and that will then in turn be helpful for people who are needing to purchase sources.
Okay, thank you so much, because I think that's very important. Just the fact that sometimes you want to be out there, and even though it's nighttime, to enjoy the beauty of nature at nighttime. It has such beautiful things comes out, especially in the Caribbean where I'm from. But you don't want to use the lights, because when you do put it on, everything goes away. So if you can have some lights that you can still keep it and admire it still, that'll be great. Thank you so much for the information.
Oh yeah, I will include that, or Dark Sky, and I'll also include Design Light Consortium with that, so you might be able to look and refer to at some point. So they have some really good information and documents.
Fabulous addition, fabulous, Juliana. See how fabulous the students are. We flip the classroom, they drive it.
Thank you so much. This was delightful answering everybody's questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Let's send some
We'll see you at
reactions.
Thank
Let's send
you.
some reaction. Thank you. You guys don't go. There's still more class. Let's say thank you.
Right. Thank you. Bye-bye.